We're going to look at Matias De Stefano's blog on history, and once again we're going to compare his channeling that he does. It's his own I and it's his own M. So we will compare it to the Law of One Tarot. All right, let's get started. All right, so his I says, I liked what you said about when we change our perspective of the world in that we stop living life as processes that must end in order to rest and start living it as a constant process of innovation. We will be able to live paradise here and now. So let's read that again. So when we change our perspective of the world in that we stop living life as processes, that must end in order to rest and start living it as a constant process of innovation. We will be able to live paradise here and now. I think it's important to recognize because it empowers us with every act we do. So this reminds me of this constant transformation. So instead of living a life of processes, I should float myself on top here. Can I do that? There we go. Okay, so instead of living life in just these four processes over and over and over again, if we can just stop, this is how I understand it, if we are able to change our perspective of the world and that we stop living life as processes that must end in order to rest and start living it as a constant process of innovation, that's when we'll live paradise here and now. And that's interesting because that constant innovation is right here, the Judgment card, which brings you to the World card. That's the Spirit complex. This is the Spirit complex of transformation, and the World card is the Great Way, Spirit complex of the Great Way. So instead of living our life in processes, because we'll end up going back to this matrix, the yang, the pieces of the matrix of the mind complex, if we live our lives in constant transformation here, which means this Judgment card of the Spirit complex, and in order to get here, what do? You surrender and you observe. This guy also observes these two in between, right? You observe and then you apply discernment in order to be here in the transformation 6 density. Then you live as above, so below, the World card. That's how I see it. The I Am says, you have been projecting things outside for a long time, seeking harmony in subsequent situations in external, divine, and intangible realities. It is time to start seeing reality from a less hopeful vision. His me says, in what sense? The I Am says, hope is the attribute of waiting. It places expectations on others, on the future, leaving it in the hands of foreign forces that resolve the circumstances, almost like a kind of regulation to a supreme power that will decide our destinies. Hope is a useful code for dreaming Pisces, but impractical for innovation for air signs like Gemini and Aquarius. Hope is replaced by realization, by responsibility. That is the ability to give an answer. Therefore, if you want something to happen, you must do it yourself. This reminds me, so this is the Faith card. Faith and hope are two very different things. So this is why language is so important. So with faith, let's look at this as the Faith card. Hope, when he says hope, it almost reminds me of the Hermit, the body complex of the potentiator, where you're waiting for other people to do things for you. Like you're waiting for this wheel of choice, the chakra wheel or wheel of karma, however this one resonates with you for the catalyst, like you're constantly waiting in a waiting game. But here, if you use this faith card and you use the yin yang or space time, you know how we talked about that, this pouring out on the white and then dark on dark, that could be shadow light, that could be yin yang, that also could be space time, perhaps. Same with the moon card. It could be shadow and light, could be space and time, could be yin and yang, it could be either. So faith is very different than hope. Okay. The Yo says, it is the key to the future that we are beginning to live, not to wait for the other to do what we want, but to do it for us. That is something necessary to work on today, because by delegating responsibilities to others, we tend to fall back into a lack of power. This is what I've been feeling lately. And then the I Am says, delegating is not bad, because it helps network tasks. The problem is delegating is not bad because it helps network tasks. The problem is delegating your power and ability to the other completely. Societies have been ordered in such a way that pretending that each one is responsible for their lives, they end up not being so, but end up being egoic lives of personal survival, where there is no coordinated delegation to sustain the whole. Societies have been ordered in such a way that pretending that each one is responsible for their lives, they end up not being so, but end up being egoic lives of personal survival, where there is no coordinated delegation to sustain the whole. Yeah, so very much so service to self world. Very much so service to self world. Again, it just reminds me of this hermit, the body complex of the potentiator. And a little bit of the devil card of the womb of the matrix, the spirit complex of the matrix, the womb. Okay. For this reason, working on responsibility is essential, recognizing that there is no space route to evolution or the acceleration of a process to reach a specific place. There is no goal. The goal is to live, and every moment of stability is nothing more than a neutral point in an eternal wave. There is no goal. The goal is to live, and every moment of stability is nothing more than a neutral point in an eternal wave. It's like a neuron. So the neutral point of a wave, where there's that point where there's no, it's like a node where there's no electron proton activity, conductivity. And it's almost like those are the portals. Those are the portals. The neutral points, the nodes are the portals to other realities. That's how I see it. And I don't know what would that be? Is that here? The nodes, the chakras, the neutral points within the chakras, where you come to balance with your emotions, balance with the moon and the sun, balance the magnetic energy that you draw in is neutral. The wave that comes in connects with the moon and connects with your organs in neutrality, which gives you a spike to love and understanding, which is this whole experience, which then gives the electric charge that you need to manifest what it is that you want. I don't know. As we have said, innovation is living the constant of the new, and each step we take in life leads us to a new experience. Recognize this. The yo says, our history, what can we consider history? Is it the things that have happened? The I am says, over time, the concept of history has been assigned to the past, to something that has already happened. But I would like us to change our point of view on this as well. And to understand it, we must resort to its etymology. History comes from the Greek historia, although the conformation of this term is much more complex. Historia comes from the Indo-European verb weid, which means to see. The word see implied an image, something observable, which could also occur in the mind through imagination, creating mental images. For this reason, weid not only described the verb to see of what was outside, but the ability to see what was inside, giving rise to the word idea. The me says, see and idea have the same origin. The I am says, the concept of seeing an idea is summarized in the verb heard, which can be translated as know. That is, if you have seen something, now you have the mental image of it, and therefore it is part of an idea. Yeah, it reminds me of the box she's sitting on here. There's eyes in here. So that's the Empress of the catalyst. It's the mind complex for the catalyst, and the box she's sitting on has eyes. So to see, if you have seen something, now you have the mental image of it. So that's a mind complex, the Empress of the catalyst, and therefore it is part of an idea. And we're continuously working through the process of the cube like we talked about in our last vlog. The me says, it makes sense. The I am, the verb evolve to be a synonym for to know. Oida is I know, and the concept of knowing is odia, idea. Okay. The me says, I just know that I don't know anything. So the I am says, in oida, oti, odin, oida, was as Socrates said, to know, you have to observe. You have to witness the facts. Thus, a new concept was formed, the witness observer, the one he knows from experience. Thus, a new concept was formed. The witness observer, the one he knows from experience. He's talking about the emperor right here. The witness observer. So I've always thought that the empress here, observer, but definitely witness. I always thought it was a personal consciousness. So that makes sense if that's the witness observer. So this witness observer, if you can imagine an eye looking this way, is observing these two and opening up with love and understanding, opening up this first density, the matrix. Remember we talked about how this is like the patterns of the matrix. So if your matrix is all entangled like a fly in a spider web, the more this witness observer contemplates, the more you open up the patterns of the matrix. Thus, a new concept was formed, the witness observer, the one he knows from experience. The subject particle in the Greek language is tor, as in farmer, builder, painter, driver, which in English also derived to ter or depending on the case. That is, the person who performs the action. Thus, eyewitness to the facts would be called oidtor, which would become oyster by dragging consonants. This word would define two interesting concepts, the witness and the wise. This here is wisdom, significator. If this is the observer, the witness, I wonder if it flips. So this way, when we're still learning and we're trying to work with getting out of the patterns of the matrix, we're looking this way, right? Visualize like an eye looking this way. So that's an eye there looking that way. But with what he's saying now, it's almost like the eye turns and looks at wisdom, witnesses wisdom through contemplation. Thus, a new concept was formed: the witness observer, the one he knows from experience, the subject particle. Okay, we don't need to go through that. That is the person who performs the action. Thus, the eyewitness. Thus, eyewitness to the facts would be called oiter by dragging. Okay, this word would define two interesting concepts: the witness and the wise. Well, whoever observes knows the facts. Thus, the concept of the wise, the attribute that defines the observer, knowledgeable and wise of the facts, would add the particle ia, which leaves us to oistoria, over time. So, okay, it was wisdom spread over time through observation. Okay, so the me says, so the eye turns. So instead of the eye being this way and observing these guys here, the eye turns this way through time, through contemplation, and now observes this here, wisdom. And this throat chakra only opens up in truth. You can't observe wisdom unless you have been truthful to yourself, which means taking responsibility and accountability for every little thing for yourself without judging. The secret is you have to take responsibility and accountability without any sort of judgment of self. That's why we have the hangman here, because once you judge yourself, the ego will kick in real quick. That's why the body complex is a strength card for the experience. You truly need strength to be honest to yourself without any sort of judgment, taking true responsibility. And just having the faith, the spirit complex, that it's okay. What happened, happened. It's fine. Guilt is from societal norms. Change it. And how do you change it? Through wisdom, the significator. The me says history. The I am says exactly. Wow, I love it. The I am. To your question about what history is, the answer now is simple. It is the attribute of the wise man who has witnessed the facts, who has seen them. The Yo says, in other words, defining history as the narration of the past or the measurement of events falls short of what it really means. The I am says that's right. Then history is a result of wisdom. Each cell shelters history within. Here we go, the body complex once again. Each one of your cells in your body, okay, shelters history within it. Everything you do, you know how to do. Your gifts, abilities are memories of the history alive in you in the form of wisdom. Who's holding all your history? Who is holding all your history? The body complex. The history is held in your cells in the matrix of the body complex, which is this is the justice card. I hope I said judgment for this one. So matrix, body complex, where's the history held? In your body. It is justice. The potentiator, body complex, where's the history held? In the hermit. And within the hermit here, you also see a DNA strand on his turban. But the history here is really covered up by the subconscious mind. That's why he's so bundled up. The catalyst, where's the history held? The body complex, in the chakras. In the how energetically free are your chakras flowing, because that's how much history that is coming into your pineal, into your mental plane. Are you utilizing that energy, or is it all stuck because of the patterns of this matrix, the mind matrix? And if it's all stuck, then the chakras, the cerebrospinal fluid from the root upward, pushing that up is going to be very difficult. It can't get through if there's a fly stuck in a spider's web. The body complex, for where history, your cells, where it's all held within your body complex of the experience, is the strength card. For the significator, it's the hangman. For the transformation, it's death. It's the death card. And then finally, the great way, as above, so below, is temperance, or the alchemist, as Ra calls it. And the alchemist comes and folds back onto justice. That's true as above, so below. You've given your body the balance for all the fluids to flow in absolute efficiency. You're creating new stem cells every single day. You're just clean. And you're more of that antenna where the great way can be utilized. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. That's great. I love you guys so much. Bye.